Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I also wanted to let you know that not only do I create content here on Class in the Glass, but I also stream content in my Twitch channel, Mr. Revan7. I play single-player games, multiplayer games, and I also do movie reviews and cartoon reviews as well. I also want to encourage you to check out my Patreon, Class in the Glass, where I offer audio commentaries, full reactions for movies, and also the ability to submit questions for my video casts and podcasts. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and enjoy the video.
I'd rather die like a man than live like a coward.
But Chad, I gotta ask you a question. How many of you have seen Get Rich or Die Tryin' or are familiar with Mr. 50 Cent, his career, his music? I'm curious about that. Like, I'll be honest with you here right now, Chad. Like, I am not familiar with his music. I'm not familiar with the man. I'm not familiar with this movie. This is the first time that I've ever seen. I have. It's got, okay, there you go. It's got I'm calling him Mr. 50 Cent. I'm putting respect on his name. They say in this movie, put respect on my name, and I'm doing that for him, okay? That is a kind gesture of goodwill, chat. That's what I'm doing for Mr. 50 Cent. Juma, you got the DVD? Oh, there we go. I go to college. Good to see you, there we go. Hope you're doing very well. I go to college near Rochester, New York. I know where all you guys are. Nice, nice. Good to see so many Western New York people in here. Very cool. Let's say, Chris, you never listened to 150. If I have, I don't know. I can't say if I have. Maybe I heard it like at a restaurant or something or in the distance, but I couldn't tell you a single song he's ever sang. I don't know. I just don't know, Chad. I'm sorry. I don't even remember anything he sang in this movie. I'm sorry. This is the sad fact of it. Oh, who else we have here? J-Cod's a long time ago. Dark Slayer. Haven't seen it, but I'm familiar with his music and history. Okay, cool. Steve, it's been a while, but I have seen it. Nice. Literally, man, I grew up on his music and saw the movie once because it's not good. Casfe, I'm familiar, but never seen the movie. Yeah. Okay, so people are familiar with him and his music, but not so much the movie. Some people have seen it. So I'm sorry, chat. I'm trying to educate myself through this film, chat. That's what I'm trying to do, okay? I love to learn. I point out if I'm ignorant about something. I'm just not gonna lie and say, oh, I know all about 50 Cent. Of course I don't. I would, chat, if there was an exam about Mr. 50 Cent, I would fail. I would probably get every question wrong on the exam. There's no question about that. Well, maybe not. If it's true and false, I do have a chance to get at least, what, a third of the questions right? So that is, I could do that, yeah. It was a true and false, exam. But in this case, I literally know nothing. But the movie, I think, is teaching me a little bit about him, chat. Because, yes, this is a work of fiction, but is inspired by the life of Mr. 50 Cent, who, chat, is Curtis Jackson. He's changed his name for this film. He changed his name to Marcus. But I know that they took actual elements from his life that he has at least spoken about, and they applied it to this film, chat. And for those of you who are 50 Cent experts in the chat right now, let me know if this is fake or if it is indeed real, because I don't know. You got to be my truth or false barometer, chat. You got to help me out here. Dark Slayer, again, thank you for the fun. I'm trying to be cultured. Culture me, okay? I rely on this movie to culture me, chat. But kind of give you a little background for the film, chat. Has a plethora of actors you've all seen in many projects throughout the 2000s all the way up to now, chat. Like, you've seen a lot of these guys. As I pointed out before, Terrence Howard, who's always already a household name, Oscar nominations and things. Adewale Akino Ajababe. Is that what I'm saying his name correctly? I hope so. Plays Mr. Echo in Lost. But no, fucking Bill Duke, guys. Bill Duke had a long career since, like, what, the 60s or 70s? All the way up until now is in this movie. A small role, but he's in this too. And, of course, Mr. 50 Cent himself, chap. The film was not a critical or commercial success. It actually critically it did not do very well. It was actually loathed by the critic community when it originally came out. You did have some positive reviews though. Roger Ebert was a fan of this movie. He actually praised a lot of the supporting performances in this film. He actually enjoyed it. So there's a positive review right there. But in terms of its commercial success, it just wasn't. It recouped its budget. Was made for $40 million, which I don't know how they spent that much money on this film. Maybe just because they paid 50 Cent so much himself. That's the only thing I can imagine, Chad. But it cost $40 million to make this movie, and it made $46.4 million worldwide. So it was kind of a bit of a box office bust. It recouped its production budget, Chad. But you also got to factor in at least, an additional 20 or 25, 30 million was spent on marketing too. So this did not make money, sadly. But chat, I can go ahead and talk about the specific details. We are opening up, chat, to a bit of a heist. We have Mr. 50 Cent. We have Terrence Howard, chat, and they got their friend named Justice, good old Justice, chat. They're about to perform a heist on these Colombians, chat. They're into the drug trade, and they need some money fast. We don't know why Mr. 50 Cent needs so much money at this point, chat, but we shall soon learn as we continue to watch the film. And so they roll up there in their car, and they seem to have this little Colombian child as their hostage. And I feel sad for this kid because he was just going back to his Colombian mom and pop. He was going to drop off some, I don't know, it looks like some tacos or something. Or maybe it was like, I don't know, kolaches. I couldn't tell, Chad. It was just in a bag. But they have him at fucking gunpoint, and they tell him to get the door open. And of course, the kid's just holding up this shit, and the guy opens the door. And they're like, oh, Mr. 50 Cent and Terrence Howard, they bust down in there, Chad. Oh, Dark's gonna give him 5 minutes. He needs the money to save the fucking Ja Rule. Maybe that's it. I'll tell you this, chat. They do explain why he is doing this at this point, but not right now. Later on in the film. And so they get on in there, and they're holding everyone hostage. Like, where's the money? Tell us where the not the chump change. Not the pennies and the nickels and the quarters, Chad. No, they want to know where the $100 bills are. Where are the Franklins? Where's Mr. Benjamin Franklin? And these guys are speaking Spanish. They don't understand Spanish, but eventually 50 Cent, using his logic, Chad, he determines that the dollars, they're in this specific cupboard. And so they're opening that up. But, by the way, Terrence Howard is losing his goddamn mind while this is all going down. Like 50 Cent, he is as calm and cool as a cucumber, Chad. He's trying to keep everything on a nice, mellow, even, cool level. Where Terrence Howard, he is threatening to shoot everyone in the face about every 5 seconds. He just goes, He has no control of himself, Chad. It's like, Terrence, take a chill pill and relax, my friend. He's threatening to kill this little Colombian child that they are holding hostage. And 50 Cent, like, you could tell, immediately, his heart is not into this. He doesn't want to be a part of this lifestyle anymore, Chad. He's more concerned about his music and his family, but he's doing it to placate Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard, he's had a fuck enough. He wants to know where the rest of the money is, and these Colombians, they're not just telling him. He's like, okay, I'm gonna fucking shoot this little Colombian, this adorable Colombian child if you don't tell me. And they're like, well, we don't know what you're saying. But he's just about to shoot this beautiful Colombian child, chat. Fucking Mr. 50 Cent, boom, he shoots up in the air. That spooks Terrence Howard. He drops his gun. And then the movie stops for Terrence Howard to do a goddamn soliloquy to 50 Cent. It's like, we've been this together for so long, man. We served time together. And you have the goal. Chad, he uses the... I'm going to tell you right now, Chad, in case you don't know, they use the N-word a lot in this movie. I cannot say this, but that's what sets Mr. Terrence Howard off, is that 50 Cent calls them the N-word. It's like, you can't call me the N-word, okay? No one can call me the N-word, all right? We've served time. I've been supporting you as your man. By the way, none of them have masks on, so all these Colombian guys, all these other patrons of this store, Chat, can obviously see their faces and identify them. If they had whatever to have them, and the usual suspects kind of like, oh, yeah, that's the fucking guy that robbed us. And I guess they didn't think about that, Chad. They're like, no, we can reveal our faces, because they have that weird sense of criminal code and honor that all these different gangs in New York City follow. They showcase that in the movie, but it's just weird to me. And while Terrence Howard's just going off this entire time, like, okay, we have to stop this and just leave. So, Chad, they eventually leave. Mr. 50 Cent is holding a little Colombian boy hostage, like, okay, I'm not gonna hurt him, but you gotta lower the shotgun, like his mother's concerned, chat, and she's aiming a fucking double-barreled shotgun at Mr. 50 Cent's head. And he's like, I'm gonna let your son go, but you gotta stop aiming that gun at me. He just fucking, he fucking yeets the kid towards his mom. Mom goes, she fucking just bashes the kid out of the way, and she just starts pumping that goddamn shotgun, this goddamn double-barreled shotgun into their getaway vehicle. Eventually, they do get away. The Colombians lose track of them, chat. And they get to I guess at a specific location, the LZ, if you will, chat. And they all go their separate ways. Terrence Howard, he's just fucking flipping out the entire time. Like, he's all shaking and shit. It's like typical Terrence Howard antics, chat. They're going separate cars. And then Mr. 50 Cent, he goes into another car, and then he drives for a little bit, chat, and he parks his car. But oh, there's someone waiting for him, chat, and he's not a good person because he's got like a little bandana on, like a cowboy, and he gets out of the car, and he just begins to pump Mr. 50 Cent full of lead, chat. Hot molten lead enters Mr. 50 Cent's body, and I'll give him this. He's fucking diving and dipping and dodging and duking as much as he can, chat, trying to get out of the way. But eventually he falls over just because he's been shot 8 times, chat. He's taken 8 shots to the leg, to the body, to the arms. He eventually falls over, and the guy has a gun pointed to his fucking face. Oh, Armored Saiyan! Armored Saiyan, thank you so much for subscribing, man. Good to see you again. How you doing? You are back. It's been a while. How you doing? Now let me raise my glass to you. May the wings of liberty never lose a feather. You're shaking the pillars of heaven, taking my pillars of heaven today, man. It's been a while. Oh, thank you. Gifting a sub to Tryin is King. Thank you, Armored Saiyan. We gotta do a cartoon pull after this review, chat. Good to see you, man. What have you been up to? Just in the middle of my review for Get Rich or Die Trying, Mr. 50 Cent's film debut, I believe. I could be lying, chat. I don't know. I'm gonna say it's his film debut. Thank you, man. No, good to see you. Hope you've been doing very well in this times of the big Rona. So much eating. a lot of eating this month. Yeah, it's true. Everything from Blade to this film, it's great. Yeet is defeated. Oh, you killed me, chat. I love it. That's Sir 50 Cent. That's Sir 50 Cent to you, Juicy. Okay, Sir 50. I'm gonna call him Mr. 50 Cent, okay? If he lived in, the UK, I'd call him Sir 50 Cent, but he's not in the UK. He's from America, chat. I gotta call him Mr. Sorry, I've been traveling and working and good to hear that. No, I'm glad especially traveling, man. But I'm glad to hear that you're corona-free, that you're safe, that you're healthy. It's a pleasure to have you back, my friend. Welcome. Doing a review again for Get Rich or Die Trying. Just in the middle of, oh my God, is 50 Cent gonna die, chat? We don't know. Because as soon as this guy, this unknown figure, chat, this cowboy, if you will, he's pressing the gun to Mr. 50 Cent's face, and then, chat, I was like, the movie lost me. Because I'm like, okay, this is fine so far. 50 Cent is rather charming in this role. I mean, he hasn't had a lot to say, but it's like, okay, I'm digging it. I'm digging it. It's a little overdramatic with Terrence Howard, but you expect that with him. I'm like, this isn't bad. But then, chat, we like, oof. Because then we are immediately hit with 50 Cent's narration. And I don't know how you're able to fuck up narrating your own movie, but oh boy! 50 Cent sure does that, chat. He has, every time he narrates the film a lot, chat. He's narrating over specific scenes, key points in his life throughout this film, or his fictional life in this case. And man, that's just not necessary. You didn't need that at all. And it immediately takes you out of the film because he's just, I mean, at this point, I'm like, okay, he's fine. He's not terrible, but after hearing that narration, like, wow, you needed to redo this or redub it or get like a new person just to do the narration because it is awful, chat. It's really, really bad. Woo! Armored Saiyan, thank you much for the 500 bitty donation, man. You are making this is a hell of a welcome back party. Thank you, Armored Saiyan. Thank you so much for the 500 biddies. At So Kind Dark Slayer coming up there with the 5 biddies. Is he worse than Qatar in The Last Airbender? All of them are the same. Like, I honestly, chat, when I think of like the worst narrators in films that I've seen in my life, right now, Mr. 50 Cent's among them, chat, for Get Rich or Die Trying. Just terrible. Like, he's always at the same tone the entire time, and he mumbles. He mumbles not only in the film itself, chat, but also in the narration. It's like, you can't mumble in the narration. I have to understand what you're saying. He's just mumbling. It's like, why? He speaks out of the side of his mouth. It's ridiculous. Other people, yeah, Katara, forget Nicole Peltz from The Last Airbender, also really bad. Another person who does really bad narration, chat, and you might hate me for this, but Tobey Maguire from the Spider-Man trilogy. God awful. Like, do you guys know me? I don't think you do. This isn't a story for the faint of heart. Like, go back, chat, and listen to Tobey Maguire's narration at the beginning of every single Spider-Man movie, and it is terrible. It's really bad. And so all of them share that same space, Chad, of terrible narrators. But we go into this, and it's like, oh, is Mr. 50 Cent going to die? We don't know, Chad, because then we do a flashback scene. We're going back in the past, and we are now seeing little 50 Cent. We're seeing 25 cents, Chad, Mr. 25 cents. 25 cents, he's driving the car of his mom. And he's talking about how much he loves his mom and how much his mom loves him. But you can tell that there is some tension, chat, because even though she is trying her damnedest to provide for her little 25-cent cub, she's into some illegal activities, chat. She's a pusher. She sells the drugs on the streets. And, you know, when she has to do this, she can't leave her son at home because they live in a rather dangerous neighborhood. So she drives all the way to her mother's house, chat, Viola Davis, who's she's a great actress. She's good in this movie. She doesn't get a lot to do, but she is good here, chat. And so she's dropping off little 25 cents at his grandma's, and she goes out there, chat, and she does her thing. And throughout this, chat, it's just... The actor they have playing 50 Cent here, he's fine, but he doesn't really get a lot of time to actually speak at this point in the film, because all of his dialogue is just narrated. All the dialogue he could have had is just narrated by 50 Cent the entire time. It's like, this is taking me out of it, because he's just not that good. And so we get like a sense of the dynamic of 25 Cent's family at this point in the film, chat. He clearly loves his grandma, his nana, chat. His grandfather has a large family, and Viola Davis has to take care of so many other people too at the same time. She has many grandkids. I think what they said, like 5 or 6 grandkids, Chad. So she's overwhelmed. She knows what her daughter is doing, but at the same time, it's like the family needs money. And so, oh my God, Josh, the $7 donation. You look much more relaxed. I'm a little more relaxed. Slightly, when people aren't razzing me the entire time. Thank you so much, Josh. Welcome to stream. I really do appreciate it. Oh, Mark, Asnod versus the World. Good to see you. I'm sorry I missed you before. Back when he was just a quarter, chat. just half of what he was. Chat, so we get the sense that that's what his mother's doing, but now we find ourselves in the car, and Mr. 50 Cent's mom, she sees someone pushing the drugs on her street corner, chat, a goddamn Rick James looking guy. And she says, "Fuck you, Rick James, what are you doing?" She gets out of the car, chat. She tells 25 Cent, "Do not get out of this car, stay in here." And he goes, "Yes, ma'am." And so she gets out of the car, and she just starts fucking swinging at him. She had immediately, he's just fucking screaming. He's trying to get back, but man, Rick James is not standing a chance against 25 Cent's mom. And then Killer Croc from the Suicide Squad, he shows up, and he tries to break up the fight. Mr. Echo, chat. I'm going to call him Killer Croc in the movie, okay? For the sake of convenience, I'm sorry, I just cannot say this man's name. It's a very hard name to say. Crow, welcome to the stream. But Killer Croc, he steps between them. He's like, "Rick James, this is not your corner. Get the hell out of here." His character's name in the movie, chat, is Majestic. It's Mr. Majestic, but I prefer to call him Killer Croc for the sake of convenience, chat. It's easy for me to remember. And Killer Croc, he's kind of like, he's touching 25 Cent's mom in like an intimate way, but she's like, "I don't really want that, but I appreciate you getting that guy off my corner." He goes, "Yeah, no problem." But again, more tension, chat. And eventually, 25 Cent, he comes out of the car, chat, and he's got like a goddamn tire iron laying to defend his mama's honor. And she goes, "What did I tell you? I said to wait in the car." And they go back to the car. She says, "Why did you do that?" She says, "Because I want to protect you, Mom." And you could tell that she has this sense of guilt because she doesn't want her son to be exposed to this kind of lifestyle and criminal element. But she still also, she appreciates him defending her at the same time. So she's in a weird place, chat. Osnick, thank you so much for the 300 biddies. Thank you. He wants the BET. I imagine he also wanted the BET at this point, chat, but that might have been a little on the nose. Dark Slayer, thank you again for the 5 biddies. Let's split the difference. Majestic Croc. I love it. I absolutely love it. Hell yeah, Majestic Croc. And so then, Chad, Mr. 50 Cent, he talks about how much he loves his mama, and then the very next scene, his mama has been murdered, Chad. She's been strangled or fucked up to whatever degree. And she may have been raped. I'm not sure, but it doesn't look good, Chad. She might have been the victim of some serious sexual abuse. and she looks like she was knocked out or is murdered. I know, it fucking flips on a goddamn dime, this movie. At first he's loving his mom, and then she's dead. And you see this guy, was it Rick James, chat? We don't know. And she's just laid out on this wooden floor. I guess it's their apartment that they live in, or their house. And this guy's just dumping a whole bunch of gasoline, a lot of gasoline, chat, all around her. And just a good measure to say how evil this person is. He sees a picture of 25 Cent and his mom. He goes, nah, and he steps on Chad. He's like, he doesn't like that picture. And it breaks into the fucking house, starts burning down. And 50 Cent, he's distraught, Chad. Eventually, well, the thing is, he's not distraught. That's the big issue, because we never really see that, because we just hear, again, it's all about, when it comes to films, chat, you show, don't tell. And this movie breaks one of my cardinal rules, okay? It tells us so many things about how the characters are feeling, because sadly, a lot of the actors do a good job. I'm not saying it, but the main actor, Curtis Jackson, and the child who plays him, they don't showcase how they're actually feeling throughout the film. We're told how they're feeling through narration, and that's a huge mistake. And then you feel like a disconnect from the characters. You have to rely on all the other supporting performances to feel anything for the main character at this point. So we're told he felt really bad about his mom, and he ends up living with his nana, chat, and his granddad. And already you could tell that he is the lowest on the totem pole, because all of his other cousins, they just walk all over him. They hate him, chat. They're always bullying him and shit. They're stealing his fucking food. And the thing is, the grandparents are like, fuck, we have 8 mouths to feed, not including 25 Cent. And so whoever gets the food first, you get the food first. That's how it is. It's like, damn, okay, shit. We also introduced to Mr. 50 Cent's best friend, Chad. Her name is Charlene. Charlene. And they bond over music. They bond over rap, chat. But the thing is, Charlene's parents don't like her participating in Mr. 25 Cent's music tracks. Because, I mean, the thing is, this is actually funny. Like, Mr. 25 Cent, he's singing these songs, but he doesn't know, like, what the context of them mean. And so when he's talking about, having sex, he doesn't know. Charlene doesn't know either. And when Charlene's parents is like, he's mentioning your name and talking about you in a sexual way. We don't want you hanging out with 25 Cents anymore. And so they send her off to live with her grandmother, chat. So we don't see Charlene until like another 45 minutes into the film. It's gonna be a while, chat, until they're adults, or at least until until like they're in their 20s. And so at this point, he's just like, I have nothing. I live with 8 other people, and they don't like me. My best friend / kind of girlfriend, love interest, she's moved away. What do I do with myself? Sell drugs. That's what he's gonna do, chap, because he is being, because after his mother's murder, Majestic Croc, he kind of takes him under his wing, and it's bad, chap, because I want you now to sell drugs for me, and we could be our own family. And so he has a little 25 Cents sitting on street corners, slinging coke, crack, not crack yet, chat. No, it's just coke, pure cocaine, to all the citizens of New York City. And eventually, he has like all this money. He doesn't know even what to do with it. At first he just wants, I'm going to buy these cool sneakers, kicks, as he calls them, chat. But eventually, he's like, I want to buy a gun. But this is kind of cool, chat. He's like, I want to buy a gun, but I don't know why I want to buy a gun. And it's just like, that's just a part of the lifestyle that Majestic Croc has enabled on him, that's pushed on him. Like, these are the things that you need. He's a terrible person, chat. But I will say, the actor, Mr. Echo, he does a very good job playing this character. Like, all the supporting performances so far have been solid to good. It's just, little 25 Cents and Curtis Jackson who just doesn't do a very good job. And eventually, he buys this gun, chat, and he is just all about the drug selling lifestyle. We see it that then transitions, chat, to a young 50 Cent. He's no longer 25 Cents, chat. He added another additional 25 Cents to his name. He is now 50 Cent. And the thing is like, you are expecting me to believe that this man is in high school? Like, what? Between freshman and senior? Bullshit. It's like the goddamn Fan Four Stick, chat. It's like Miles Teller is not a high school student. He's not at least 18. No, far from it. He's a 35-year-old man. The same thing for Mr. 50 Cent. It's like, bullshit, he's in high school. But it's like, okay, whatever. They kind of play around with it. Well, technically, he's not going to high school anymore. He's just slinging dope on all these corners. And eventually, chat, like, he's still living in his nana's home, too. And one day, his grandfather, he's busy doing the laundry. And, he finds the gun. he finds the gun that 50 Cent had bought. He's like, what is this? What is this? And I thought, oh, here's going to be a great scene. Cake, welcome to the stream. Here's going to be a great scene. Zodiac, welcome to. Good to see you. Of him having interaction with his grandfather. It's over a thing that his grandfather's been adamant. Like, I don't want these negative influences in the house, as a gun or drugs or anything. No, you can't bring this here. Absolutely not. Like, him and Viola Davis tried to create a very peaceful and educational and sensible home. Thank you, Dutch, another 5 days. Maybe he got held back. maybe. Now, if they said that they had a line in there, that would have made more sense. But it's like, okay, we're going to have like a conflict here. The thing is, no conflict happens. Because 50 Cent, he sees his grandfather has found the gun. He takes off his headphones. And they look at each other. He's like, the grandfather's like actually trying to initiate a conversation between him and 50 Cent. And the 50 Cent goes, I'm going to get going. He just leaves. There's no conversation has been had, chat. And then we get to see, again, the narration comes in there. I felt so mad. I was so angry, and I wasn't thinking. But we never see that conveyed on 50 Cent's face or through a conversation at all. And I forgot about all the drugs that I kept in my backpack. And he's going to school, he's going to the metal detectors, and the guys find these mounds of drugs. They just like, oh my God, look at all the drugs are finding. It's like fistfuls of drugs, chat. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And he's like, oh, those aren't mine. It's like, what? You forgot about the mounds of drugs in your backpack? I mean, it would have made more sense if you actually got angry at your grandfather, but none of that is conveyed. It doesn't matter. And so he's arrested, and he's let out on bail, I believe. He's let out on bail. I guess he has to pay like a $500 trial. I was like, that's not too bad. Like carrying cocaine. You only pay a $500 fine, and he doesn't seem to be serving any jail to me because he's a minor, which is bullshit. He's a minor. He's at least a 30-year-old man, chat. And so he walks free, and like, hey, Majestic Croc, he appreciates the discretion that 50 Cent has showcased. Like, hey, he didn't reveal anything. He didn't snitch on your friend, which is always a good thing. Very Goodfellas-esque. He's like, hey, appreciate you for doing that. We're going to get into the goddamn, I'm not going to be slinging coke anymore. No, we're going to get into the crack cocaine type of shit now, okay? And we get this one scene, again, very cool. We get this one scene, him making this, like, really terrible looking crack cocaine in a goddamn, what is it, like a coffee pot, chat, adding baking soda and ice, and she was like, oh my God, and it's crack cocaine. Chat, all you need is ice, warm water, and baking soda, crack cocaine, and a little sprinkling of cocaine in there, crack cocaine. And he's like, all right, guys, so we're going to get out of the ghetto by slinging this. But I have one big rule, okay? Well, I have 3 rules technically, but I remember all of them. The first rule is, don't snitch on your friends. Second rule, we don't use this shit, okay? I want to see anyone smoking this, okay? The third thing is, don't keep this shit at your home. Keep it here. You want to sell some of this stuff? Come here, and we'll give it to you, and you sell in the street. But don't keep it at home, because the cops are going to search you all the time, okay? They have your goddamn address. They know that you had a history of doing this. They will occasionally come with a warrant, and they'll search you. And everyone's like, agreed, chap. And he also tells all the people to start getting a crew together. You have to people that you trust. And they were introduced to some of 50 Cent's crew, chat. I don't remember all their names. One is called Antoine. Antoine, he's a good guy. We have Justice, chat, and we have Carl. And they're all good friends, chat. Eventually, we're introduced to the boss of the I guess of this specific criminal group, chat. I don't know what they're called in the movie, if they're given a name. But we know that the Colombians are, because they call them the Colombians. But I don't know what 50 Cent's criminal organization is called. We're never told. Dogs, I think of the 5 minutes. Never smoke your own supply. Exactly. Very true. Do not talk about Fight Club. Absolutely. He might have talked about Fight Club. And he gets his crew together. We're also introduced to Bill Duke, who plays the character of LeVar. He is the boss of this organization. And Majestic Croc, he introduces, like, hey, I want to introduce my main man, my best dope slinger, chat, my best dope dealer, Mr. 50 Cent. He introduces LeVar, and LeVar's like, oh yes, I've heard many good things about you. He's like, what do you want most in life, Mr. 50 Cent? He's like, I want to make money. He's like, sounds good to me. This is a good kid. He wants to make money. You don't want to get into trouble. I appreciate that. And eventually, Mr. 50 Cent, he's making so much money off of this stuff, Jeff. But not a significant amount. Like, still, when he was just slinging coke at the time, he was just making, as he says, like minimum wage, if barely minimum wage. So that was interesting. It was until he started selling crack cocaine he actually started to earn a lot of money. Also, he briefly tries, Chet, to get out of the crime element that he's been a part of. And so he leaves his Nana's home, his Nana and grandfather's home, Chad. He gets his own place based on the money that he's been earning. I don't know where he lives in. I wouldn't even describe it as an apartment, Chad. It feels like a garage, like an overhead garage. I'm not sure. Like almost like a wood shop even. And he's like, I'm going to start over my life. I am now going to be a gangster rapper, okay? What I wanted to do with what was her name? Candace, Chat? Charlene. What I wanted to do with Charlene Bass when I was a wee little lad. And he does that. And this is actually funny. It's like, I worked on that for 3 hours and I abandoned it because it was too hard. And the thing is like, it's a funny line, but again, because it's not Curtis Jackson in the scene saying these things, it's his narration. And he reads it at the same goddamn tone the entire time. And it's like, even though it's like, oh, that's actually a really clever line, he's not giving it that oomph, that punch up that it needs, Chad. Sadly, it falls flat. It's like, god damn it. But he eventually is selling all of this crack cocaine to the point where it's like, oh, I can buy things that I couldn't previously buy. He gets himself an automobile, Chad, gets himself a car, a Mercedes with that. And he's like, I can finally drive to all these places I couldn't drive before. He goes to the Coney Island, or somewhere near Coney Island, I think the beach somewhere, Chad. And he relives a flashback, remembering his mother, thinking about her, how they went swimming one time, and it's like to better times, you know. And eventually, he's still with his friend Chat. They're still slaying the crack cocaine. But Chat, what are the odds? He runs into I keep wanting to say Candace. What's her goddamn name again? Charlene. Chat runs into Charlene. And she, I believe, is in college at this point. I think she's in college, and she teaches dance, Chat. She's with one of her, one of her fellow students, and she sees fucking 50 Cent. She's like, oh my god, it's been so long, Mr. 50 Cent. He's like, it has been, Charlene. And he's like, you want to go get some food? And by the way, they completely ignore the other guy she's with. It's like, yeah, fuck you, who cares? It's like, Mr. 50 Cent's here. It's like, move over. And so they go ahead and they get some food, Chat. There's a little local diner, which 50 Cent's mom happened to work at all those years ago. A little fun bit right there, Chat. And so they're eating food, and she's asking about 50 Cent and like his life and how everything's been going. Like, he's still in the music and things. He's like, yeah, I'm a gangster rapper. And he's like, no, seriously, what do you do for a living? And eventually, all Mr. 50 Cent's friends, they all stop by, Chat. And they're like, oh yeah, he's a gangster rapper. And Charlene, she's smart. She's not dumb. She's like, okay, you're fucking slinging dope. I know what you're doing. He's like, yeah, but I have aspirations. I want to be a gangster rapper, Chad. And eventually, she is just so charmed by Mr. 50 Cent that, you know, they go home, Chad, and they have the sex that you would expect. She's just so charmed by him. They have the sex, and they become a couple. And you get the sense that Mr. 50 Cent, he doesn't want to keep doing the slinging the drugs anymore. He wants to have more meaning in his life, and he thinks he might have found that with Charlene. Eventually, chap. So they go on so many dates, and they're spending time with each other, and him and his crew are spending time with each other with everyone. They're at a party, and they're all having a good time. They're drinking. Majestic Croc, he's there. He's like, you brought a little lady friend. Hey. Why don't you bring your lady friend in back with the boys? We can all have a good time together. Mr. V's like, I do not want that. Absolutely not. She would not appreciate it, and neither would I. And he's like, okay. You could already tell there's a bit of a rift opening up between them, chap, between Majestic Croc and 50 Cent. Because, I mean, what? Is he implying that is him and his people back there are going to be raping, Candace, chat? Charlene, also known as Charlene? We don't know, but it was like, it was like a little creepy there. Eventually, that stops, chat, because, oh no, Antoine has been shot. The Colombians, chat, the Colombians want revenge for everything that's been going down. And they shoot Antoine. They're like, no, Antoine, that character who I've only mentioned once in the movie. They shoot him, chat, like a lot. And the whole crowd disperses, and all Mr. 50 Cent, he's mad. And they all go over to Antoine. He's like, he needs a goddamn ambulance right now. They call an ambulance for Antoine, chat. They pick him up, and Mr. 50 Cent, he goes to check on Antoine. He's paralyzed from the waist down. He's like, ooh, that's not good. And Mr. 50 Cent, he wants revenga, chat. And so Justice and Carl, they go out for revenge. Charlene, she says, no, don't do that. Like, is that going to still make it right? That's not going to make the situation better. That's not what he needs right now. That's not what Antoine needs. He needs his friends. He needs you, Mr. 50 Cent. Mr. 50 Cent, I don't give a shit. I need revenge. And so he goes out there, chat, and he finds the two Colombians that did it. Also, chat, like 50 Cent's obsessed with finding what he believes is his mother's killer, Rick James. He thinks Rick, and he always keeps pictures of Rick James everywhere. He wants to stab him. It's very funny. Talking to 10 minutes. So the conversation went 50. I'm gangster rapper. Charlene, you're dealing drugs. 50 want to fuck Charlene. Yes, you nailed it. You nailed it very quickly. Yes. That's how it went. That's how the scene evolved or devolved, depending on who you are. How you think a narrative should be. And so they find the two Colombians, chat, because they know everyone is. That's the thing. It's not like it's hard to find it, like all the criminal element in New York apparently knows where everyone is and their addresses and their haunts, chat. And Mr. 50 Cent, he rolls up on these guys and they shoot the Colombian man. Oh, but right before 50 Cent's about to shoot him in his face, chat. Oh, he has flashbacks of Charlene, chat. He has flashbacks of his mama. And he's like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And so he just lowers the gun and shoots him in his balls. I'm like, oh my God! You should have just killed him. Shoots him in his balls, chat, in his legs. And he's screaming his ass off. And then Mr. 50 Cent, his friends, they just run the fuck away. They're like, all right, we did it. Okay, we got Revengo for Antoine. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. And so a meeting is called, chat, because this was an unsanctioned attack on the Colombians, and LeVar, what's his name? Not LeVar. Is it LeVar? I want to get his name correctly, chat. It's goddamn Bill Duke. You know what I'm talking about. Bill Duke, he's like, oh, we got to talk about this. He's like, listen, everybody, the cops have been watching me for so long at this point. I'm going to have to do some time anyway. I met with the leader of the Colombians, whose name escapes me at this moment, chat, and we called an end to the war right now. Okay, that was unsanctioned. We can't do this anymore. I'm going to put Mr. Shiny Teeth, he's got 2 diamond-encrusted teeth, chat. Mr. Shiny Teeth will be in charge of the operations while I'm gone. And hope everyone, and please don't fuck this up for me, okay? I don't want to go to prison anymore. And so he leaves, chat. Oh, Majestic Croc, he is so mad that Mr. Shiny Teeth is in charge. He's like, oh, I'm bothered by that. And Mr. Shiny Teeth, he beckons over Mr. 50 Cent. And he's like, listen, okay, you're going to work for me. You're going to be my number 2 guy, all right? But you can't pull shit like that, okay? You have to ask us about this first, okay? We're just gonna let this one slide because you are our best earner, you know? I mean, Majestic Croc, who's giving me the stink eye right now, he seems very scary and very put down by the fact I'm now the leader of the criminal organization, but he's vouched for you, so you can't do this, okay? And Mr. 50 Cent goes, no problem, I will not do this. And next scene, chat, Mr. 50 Cent is being arrested because the cops suddenly have appeared at his domicile, chat, and all of his friends are there. Justice is there as well as Coral. And they find a bunch of crack cocaine. They're like, that's not ours. Legitimately, chat, it was actually not theirs because Mr. 50 Cent, he has said multiple times, like, we do not smoke this shit in my abode. We do not have this shit in my abode, okay? Like, no one uses it. As a matter of fact, there was a scene early in the film when someone tries to smoke crack cocaine. He's like, fuck it! And he punches the guy. And he's like, you don't do that. Take that outside. I don't want that in my place. And it must be clean, okay? And so they're all arrested. Like, who put the dope there? It's like, we don't know. We don't know, Chip. There's speculation. There is speculation. And so 50 Cent and Coral and Justice, they all go to serve some time. Mostly 50 Cent because he was the owner of it. And so Coral and Justice, they only do like a little bit of time. They're out like that. I think they only get arrested and they post bail and they pay a fine. But 50 Cent, he's got to go away for a period of time. So he goes in there, chat. And Majestic, he has pulled some fast ones on some people, chat. Majestic Croc, because he has sanctioned a hit on the cop that follows LeVar all the time, and somehow like he gets shot to shit, and the NYPD just blame Bill Duke for it, and he's in prison for life now, and he then he accuses Mr. Shiny Teeth of coordinating and working for the Colombians. And so they got poor old Mr. Shiny Teeth tied up, chat, like, Scarface style, like in a bathtub. And he has all the boys around him, chat, and he's doing his epic, very nefarious villainous speech. And it's saying, like, this is what we do to traitors. And he takes out these pliers, chat, because, oh, Shiny Teeth is he's got a lot to pay. and he gives them to Justice. He says, pull this motherfucker's teeth out. And he's like, I don't really want to do it. He's like, you're going to fucking do it. And so Justice, he goes up there, Chad, and he pulls this guy's teeth, just rips him out. I just scream at Chad. That sounds like a fate worse than goddamn death. Having all your teeth pulled out without any anesthetic at all. Oh, God. It's fucked up. Omega, thank you for the host. Welcome to stream. We're just in the middle of Mr. Shiny Teeth having his shiny teeth pulled out. And so Justice, he pulls these suckers out, Chad, and Majestic Cross says, he's just laughing, Chad. He's overacting a little bit. He's just laughing, and he eventually puts a fucking plastic bag over his head, and he chokes him, he dies, and now Majestic, he is now the leader of this criminal outfit, Chad. He also has a rapper who works for him, too, called Dangerous, and he sings songs about Majestic Croc, and I guess that just spreads his word. Like, that's his goddamn order, Chad. It's like, now you all know who I am, my reputation in this area, around the country. He's like, do not fuck with me. Eventually, Chad, we cut back to prison with Mr. 50 Cent, and he's going through the whole, shindig. He's dropping off all his materials, Chad. They're going through processing, Chad. He's going through processing. He's like, oh, this is all stuff I have on me right now. Pick it up later. And Chad, we see a butt-naked Mr. 50 Cent along with a lot of other naked prisoners, and they're all taking the shower, Chad. It's your pre-prison shower. Gotta have you clean, when you get into prison. And so, Chad, while he's showering and everything like that, he's noticing the guards are looking away for some. He's like, that's kind of weird. They probably should be looking at us. But it's like, oh no! He looks to his side, Chad, and these guys are just staring at him like crazy. And one has a knife, and they tried to stab Mr. 50 Cent, but thank God, Chad, because 50 Cent had a guardian angel, and his name was Terrence Howard. And Terrence Howard, I am now going to overact my ass off, because he leaps on him. He leaps on the guy who's trying to attack 50 Cent, and he starts pummeling the shit out. Honestly, chat, this is a pretty cool scene, because it's a wide shot. It's actually well choreographed. It's a wide shot, and you just see all these naked men just beating the shit out of each other. Oh, dick and balls, Chad, dick and balls and everything just flopping around. There is many a flaccid penis in this scene right here, guys, okay? It's very intimate. And they're just slipping. I love it, too, because Terrence Brown's like fucking slipping on the blood. It's like, God damn it, man. God damn it, man. He can't get his footing. And he's slipping around on blood, on soap, on water. It's actually a pretty cool scene. Oh, peanut. Oh, yes, they did, Cabs. Yeah, I saw Terrence Howard's penis. I saw Mr. 50 Cent's penis. I saw unknown actresses' peni, chat. Many a peni was viewed in this film by me. And they're all slipping and sliding. And eventually, the guys who tried to kill 50 Cent, they're knocked the fuck out. The guards start beating the shit out of Terrence Howard and 50 Cent. They're arrested. They're put in the handcuffs. They're bleeding out, too. They're just bleeding like crazy. But 50 Cent, even though they're on the floor, 50 Cent, he's like saying to him, I really appreciate what you did for me, Terrence Howard. And Terrence Howard's like, hey, man, happy to. He's like, why'd you do it? He's like, I couldn't see a brother being stabbed that way. He's like, I appreciate you. And so, chat, they bond in prison. That's like his best friend in the penitentiary, chat. Dark said, thank you for the 10 biddies. A lot of wet men, absolutely. Chris, your innocence is gone. It's so gone. So many peni I have witnessed, chat. Ticks out for 50. D. Carlos, you the 10 biddies. No, thank you, D. Carlos. Thank you, Darkslade. I do appreciate that. Oh, so they bond, chat, in prison. And Terrence Howard, even though he's fucking nuts, and it's very obvious right away, he encourages 50 Cent to forgo the criminal lifestyle. And it's like, hey, man, in this, but you have a lot of time to serve. Why don't you just concentrate on your music? And that's what 50 Cent does, Chuz. He's like, you know what? He's thinking about his mother. He's thinking about not Candace, chat, the woman who's named fucking Charlene. And he's like, you know what? And he's thinking about his childhood and what he's done. And like, these are the things that inspire him to start writing and performing his music. He gets like a tape recorder. He starts recording, chat. And this is what gets him through prison. We'll also talk of Terrence Howard. Meanwhile, outside, Majestic Croc, he is, asserting more control over his criminal empire, chat, during this whole time. Eventually, Terrence Howard, he leaves prison. He gets out a little earlier than Mr. 50 Cent does. And he says, I'm going to wait for you, man. The day that you get out, I'm going to be there for you to pick you up. Like Blues Brothers style, chat. And lo and behold, the day Mr. 50 Cent gets out of prison, who's there to see him? Terrence Howard. He's like, hey man, I'm here to see you. But oh, Chad, who's also there? Fucking Majestic Croc. He's there. You have Coral there too, and you have Justice, and they're like, Come on, man. 50 Cent, he has to choose. Do I choose bro or do I choose old bros? And Chad, at first he seems to be choosing old bros. He goes over to see Majestic Croc and Justice and Coral and all those guys. And but it's not what you think, Chad, because Majestic Croc's like, I want you to be my number 2 on this, man. You served your time. You didn't snitch. That's fucking loyalty. You're a good man. It's like, but who organized the hit? 50 Cent, he might know. Was it Majestic Croc? He speculates, Chad. He speculates. And he's like, I appreciate that, man. You've done a lot for me, but it's just not for me anymore. And he's like, what do you mean it's not for you? What are you going to do with this? I'm going to be a gangster rapper. He's like, a gangster rapper, you? Oh my God, that is rich. That is rich. You're never going to get rich. But 50 Cent says, I'm going to die trying. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? You said the title of the movie, except it was backwards. Dark Side, think of the 5 biddies. At one point is the shower scene. Nia Brownie wants to know for Sunday. I think it's like an hour in. It's about an hour in, Nia Brownie. That's where it is. And so who comes over to help 50 Cent, chat? It's Terrence Howard. And he's like, I'm crazy, man. And then he's like saying, like, back the fuck up, Crocodile Man. He's telling Justice to back the fuck, Carl. You're good with me. You seem like a nice individual. I'll see you later on the film when you help out Mr. 50 Cent when he has braces, when he gets shot in the fucking face. You seem okay, but you gotta back off, man. And so he takes 50 Cent, chat, and they ride in his car. Justice goes with him, chat. Majestic Croc, he's manipulating the mind of Justice. He's like, you have to watch 50 Cent for me. So he does that, chat. He does that, and he's in the back of the car, and so are driving, and then you know, Justice, he's just kind of, you know, he's like fidgeting in the back of the car, and Terrence Howard's like, you got to stop moving the back of the car, man. I don't like when people move in the back of my car. It makes me nervous. He's like, I'm just fucking changing position. He's like, you can't change positions in the back of my car, man. And to the point when he's like, he keeps moving, he turns out, just stops the goddamn car. He's like, okay, man, you and me have to have words. But 50 Cent, he has become a man of peace. He's like, no, we cannot fight. We cannot kill each other. That was the old way. I'm initiating the new way. And he brokers a peace between Terrence Howard and Justice, and they stop fighting. And then we see the start of 50 Cent's gangster rap career. Chad, he's recording more. I don't know how he's getting money. That's not maybe he had money saved over when he was slinging dope. That's not explained. I don't know. But him and Charlene, chat, they continue their relationship. She becomes pregnant. Chat. She's pregnant for a scene, and she's birthed a baby. She's front pooped out a baby, chat. And we see little, and what's the name of the baby, chat? It's little Antoine, and they tell that to no legs can work anymore, Antoine. He got no legs, chat. And he's like, you named him after me? It's like, of course, man. We felt incredibly guilty when you lost your legs. So his baby's name is now Antoine. He's emotional, chat. 50 Cent and his grandfather, they reconcile. You know, Viola Davis, she shows up there. She's like, hi, I'm still in the movie. I'm an Oscar winner, but I'm here. And everyone's having a great time. Majestic Croc, he's just, 13 cents. He's like a nickel. That's nickel. They should have just named him Nickel. That would have been great. That would have been great. And so, Majestic Croc, he doesn't like hearing all about this, you know, babies. He doesn't like hearing about this gangster rap, chat. Like, I guess he starts making money selling his cassettes, chat, because this is like the 90s, I guess. And so he's selling cassettes and shit. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's like, I don't know. No, it's the 90s. So he's selling cassettes on the street and things. So he's making money that way. People, they're starting to play his music in clubs. And Majestic Croc, he just hates this bullshit. He doesn't like it. And he's like, I hate that 50 Cent is not working for me. I'm going to fuck with him. And so I guess the one day when, you know, when Charlene's recovering in the hospital, chat, because she just literally front pooped out a baby. They just let anyone in the hospital. And Majestic Croc, he picks up little Nickel, and he's looking at him, chat, and he's like, oh, she's so cute. And he's like, it's like, it's like almost gonna drop him, chat. And Charlene, she's like, don't hurt him. He's like, I would never hurt a child. That's not my way. That's not what I do. And he puts the baby back down. But fucking 50 Cent, he is going nuts. He's like, how dare that man touch my baby? I don't want that to happen. And they're like, listen, man, he's trying to intimidate you. That's all it is. You can't let him get to you. But 50 Cent, he's like, listen, I want to make sure my wife and my child are 24/7 security. Fucking Terrence Howard's like, I'm going to organize that for you. And Terrence Howard, he's loyal, but he's fucking nuts. So he's like, I will do that. I will organize all this for you. Also, while this is all going down, Black Sheep, they go 25 cents. I love it. Every time he says Charlene, I think of Anthony Hamilton. They took my man. They almost did. But it was more just a power play. Like, hey, man, I can come in here anytime I want and fuck with you and your baby and your wife and anyone else. Like, that's what it is, chat. It's intimidation. That's what Majestic Croc was doing. And so eventually he's like, okay, I'm going to contrary my music. But the thing is, though, chat, 50 Cent, like, he's not even able to go to the studio because fucking, what's his name? Majestic Croc, he's sending people there just to intimidate and enforce, like, violence upon 50 Cent's people. He's like, I can't even record there. And it's like, so he's just flummoxed, chat. And eventually they're running low on money. And Terrence Howard, he has a brilliant idea. Let's just fucking rob from the Colombians, man. You know where their haunts are. We need money. We need to find you a new studio. We can build our own studio if we have the cash flow, okay? So we just fucking rip off these Colombians. Like, fuck them. They're doing illegal shit all the time. Who cares? You know, 50 Cent's like, I don't really want to do that anymore. He's like, come on, man. He's, you're the man, chat. So they organize that. So it's 50 Cent. It's Justice, and it's Terrence Howard. They find a small little Colombian child, and they kidnap him, chat. And it's like kind of fucked up. And that's the beginning of the movie, chat. As I told you before, they go there to rob the place. Terrence Howard loses his fucking mind. And then eventually cuts to the point where we see 50 Cent on the ground, chat, and he has the gun over his face. And like, no, on his head. And then, but then who is his shooter, Chad? Who's the shooter? And the mask comes off, Chad. He's not a cowboy. It's Justice, Chad. He betrayed him because he's been working for Majestic Croc the entire time, as we know. And he's infiltrated 50 Cent's, group. He's like, it's nothing personal, but it kind of is. And but while all this is going on, Chad, Curtis Jackson, he's just narrating, and he says, I thought it was my mom that saved me, but it was actually my nana, my grandma. Because then, Chad, from all the way back down the street, we hear Viola Davis scream her fucking head off, and that scares the shit out of John. He goes, ah! And he screams, Chad, and the gun moves slightly down and shoots 50 Cent in the mouth, which he kind of needs. So he gets shot in the mouth, so that's bullet number 9. He fucking takes off running. And the whole neighborhood, they go over to Mr. 50 Cent. They're like, oh my God. And they're all scared because he's bleeding the fuck out. He's got 9 bullets in him, chat. 9 fucking molten hot lead bullets inside of his body. And like, someone call an ambulance, and his granddad's like, fuck that, we gotta get him over there now. So they get a pickup truck, chat, they load his body up there, and during all this time, he's fucking thinking of the past and shit, and he's seeing his life play before his eyes, chat. Very, very obvious. it's very, okay, I get what you're doing here. It's very straightforward. And eventually, on the way there, he dies. He does die in the back of the pickup truck. All these medical technicians, they come out there trying to revive him. Meanwhile, chat, we cut to the past, where his mother, who's working the diner that he frequents all the time with Charlene and some of his friends, it's 4th of July, I guess, and she's heavily pregnant with him, and one of those fireworks goes off, chat. She's like, oh no, and the water just splooges right out of her, chat, and now she too, much like Charlene, chat, her daughter-in-law, if she knew her, she too must front poop out a baby. And so, while they're trying to resuscitate Mr. 50 Cent, chat, Mr. 50 Cent's mom, she births Nickel, I guess technically he'd be 5 cents at this point. She births him, and he resuscitates. He comes alive, chat. And somehow he remembers his mom saying, "You're such a beautiful boy. There are going to be so many good things for you in the future. I love you." And that's what that's what keeps him alive, chat. And we see him in the hospital, and he's really fucked up, and he's surrounded by his friends and his family, and even though he shot the shit, at least he's surrounded by loved ones. Meanwhile, Justice goes to report to Majestic Croc and tells him, like, hey, man, I killed 50 Cent. Mr. Croc's like, you didn't kill him. You didn't do that. He's alive. He's like, how? I shot him 9 times. Mr. Croc shot him 9 times. That's cool. And it's kind of cool, too. This is a very villain move. He has, like, a cane throughout the movie, like a little jaguar on it, and he pulls out, oh, it's a sword! And he goes, bah, 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 and he stabs the shit out of Justice. So Justice got his in the end, Chad. He dies. And so he's dead. Majestic is still running his criminal empire. Eventually, 50 Cent, he gets out of the hospital, Chad, but he's hooked on the morphine. Like, he's wearing braces now. His mouth's all fucked up, so he can't rap anymore. Him and his wife are living near the ocean. Dark Side, think of the 5 minutes. Fun fact, the bullet he got shot in the face, right in his mouth and tongue. That's true. They actually mentioned that in the film, too. They talk about that. So that's a real-life element they added to this movie. And so I can imagine the physical trauma of that. Because I'll say this, chat. This is the best scene in the film that we're getting to with 50 Cent because I just think it was such a personal thing because he lived through it. And this is the best acting we see in the movie. Eventually, we learned that he has become hooked on morphine, or he's just taking it like he's not. I don't know if hooked is the right word. He's just in constant pain, and he's just miserable because he can't do what he loves. And so his fatherly duties have almost been taken over by Antoine and Coral. They're kind of helping Candace, Charlene, chat, also known as Candace in the movie, take care of it. And eventually she just confronts 50 Cent. She's like, okay, what do you want to do? Okay, like we need you. And all I see you is just doping up on this shit. And she says all these things to him. He's taking this in. He starts crying. It's like, okay, this is actually really effective. He starts crying because he's disgusted with himself and seeing his wife and child this way. And it's a good scene. He takes all the morphine bottles he has and he throws them in this thing and just becomes smashing them. It's like, this is the emotion I needed throughout the movie. It's like, here, clearly, he went through something like this in his actual life, chat, and it comes across that way. And so he does a good job in the scene. So it's not totally negative, okay? He does a good job here, and he smashes it, and eventually, he's kind of fucked up, though, afterwards, because she then starts to remove his braces, like with a fucking, I don't know what it is, chat, but it's like pliers. Like, oh, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that with like a dentist office. She starts taking that shit off. It's like, ugh. And she puts his hand in his mouth. He's like, that's where the bullet fragment is, the tongue and the jaw and everything. And he starts sucking on her finger, and they have the sex. I guess they have the sex, haven't had the sex in a long time. They have the sex. But after, having a good old sexy time, that inspires him to start rapping again, chat. He sounds a little bit different because he got shot in the fucking face. But his wife tells him, like, don't even worry about it. You sound even better because I could tell that the pain is coming through. And his music starts to become even more popular, chat. Starts to sell even better. And he's going to now make his live action debut at a local club in New York City. But Majestic Croc, that's the last thing that he wants. He will not stand for it, chat. And so he's already putting out people to intimidate 50 Cent and his people. On the night of his performance, 50 Cent goes to, just before he's about to leave to the club, he's meeting with his family. And they already have protection. Like, Antoine, who's fucking can't walk anymore, Chad, he's the protection for the family. He's locked in low of a shotgun, just waiting on the front porch. Everyone starts coming. I'm going to start blasting. It's like, damn. And even Viola Davis, she's like, I don't have a gun, but I'll stab someone. I have knives. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to stab people. And it's like, okay. And even Charlene's parents, who hated 50 Cent, initially they said, we are going to protect you too. He's like, here's a gun. I bought it legally. Here's a gun for your own protection. Like, oh, that's nice. So even the stepdad's going to help protect 50 Cent. So they go to the club, chat. Oh, even before all that, I'm sorry. So right before this scene happens, Bill Duke contacts 50 Cent out of the blue, who's been doing time in prison for life, and for ordering the hit on that policeman who's been following him. And he's like, 50 Cent's like, why does he want to talk to me? And he goes there, and Bill Duke reveals, I am your papa. I am your father. I had sex with your mom, but she didn't want anything to do with me because of who I was. And I was in a weird position where I wanted to help her, but she didn't want my help, at least not without her doing work for me. It was very odd, but you're my son, and I didn't know how to be a father to you. But when I heard about you being shot, that was the first time I ever prayed in my entire life. That wasn't for myself. I'm sorry I couldn't be a good dad to you. Do what you want to do in your life, but fucking watch out for Majestic Croc. He's fucking nuts, okay? And all his people, okay? So you gotta be careful, son. He takes all this, Chad. He's like, I don't know how to think, Chad. Thank God I have fucking 50 Cent narrating how I feel about this instead of actually showcasing any emotion, because he narrates all that. It doesn't make any sense. He narrates it, Chad. I don't remember what it was. Eventually, Chad, we go back to the club, and he's just about to prepare to sing. They're getting everything figured out. He's got a bulletproof vest on, Chad. And then who fucking walks into the club, chat? Majestic Croc. He's like, I want to speak to you, Mr. 50 Cent. Who his rap name in the movie, chat, is Little Caesar. That's his rap name. I don't know if that was real, if that was what it actually was. I wasn't sure. And so he like, I want to talk to you, 50 Cent. I want to reveal some things, because he wants to kill 50 Cent at this point, chat. But he's like, he wants to fuck with him first. And then he says, like, what do you want? I was like, I just want to reveal that it was I was the one who killed your mother. It's like, what? out of nowhere. I was the one who killed her because she rebuffed me. She rebuffed this. How could she possibly do that? And, you know, and when we see it, Chad, we see the flashback. He was the one that was dumping the gasoline, all that. And he was the one that lit the match. And, I hate that picture of you and your mom. And it's like, whoa. And 50 Cent's like, mama. And he fucking, that was his trigger, Chad, hearing about his killers, the true killer, the true identity of his mom's killer, Chad. It wasn't Rick James. Rick James was not the murderer. And so he fucking starts he beats the shit out of Majestic Croc, Chad. There's not really much of a fight. He beats the shit out of him, Chad, and he's just about to kill him. He's like, ooh, but he remembers his wife. He remembers his mother. He remembers all the good things in his life, Chad. And he's like, I'm not that person anymore. I am not a gangster. I'm a gangster rapper now, okay? Forget that. And so he leaves. He's like, I'm better than you. And he performs, chat. And Majestic Croc was, well, thank God. I mean, all right, fine. At least I skipped my life. But, oh, chat, we forgot about one element. Thank you, Darkseid, for the 5 minutes. It was me, 50. It was me all along. It pretty much was that. But we forgot about one element, chat. Man, we forgot about crazy Terrence Howard. And he's like, I will not let this stand. And he shoots the shit out of Majestic Croc, chat. Majestic Croc is down. He is no more. He is no longer corporeal, chat. And so while Terrence Howard, he's killing Majestic Croc, 50 Cent, he performs in front of a huge studio audience. And it's like, yay, everyone's happy, chat. And that, my friends, is Get Rich or Die Trying. The name of the movie is very, very literal. So that's what he got rich, but he almost died in the process. So that's the film, chat. Honestly, like, I don't hate this movie. I know that it's reviled by a lot of people because it's very straightforward. It's almost generic. It's almost sometimes laughable. But what does save it from being something like a some old bullshit in my mind on DT scale is that there's a lot of great supporting performances in this film. Everyone from, I can't remember all the actors in it, but the person who plays Charlene does a good job. What's his name? Joy Bryan. Adewale Akino Ajababi, fucking Killer Croc. He does a very good job. Viola Davis does a good job. You know, like Bill Duke does a good job. The thing is, it's just they managed to lift up the material to be better than what it actually is. But sadly, the thing that does bring it down, though, is Curtis Jackson himself. I don't know if this was his first role. I'm not sure. But he cannot act. And it's too bad because if he was good, and like, you know what, this would have been a solid matinee. It was like, okay, that was entertaining. But the fact that he showcases so little emotion through like 98% of the film, it just drags it down. It's like, I don't really care about this character. I'm supposed to, but I just don't because the actor doesn't seem to care. And so at the end of the day, Chad, like, I'm not, so it's his first role. Okay, so there you go. That makes sense. So I'm not gonna, this isn't a some old bullshit for me, but it's a rental. It's a rental. It's like, okay, see him for some good performances, Chad, even for like Terrence Howard for his overacting ass. Like, it works for the scenes that he's in. He's legitimately funny in the movie. But I don't hate this film. To me, it's a solid rental on the DT scale. Yeah, what about the rest of you guys? I'm kind of curious. I know a lot of people do hate this film, but I just didn't find myself hating it. Summer Baby, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. It's also, no, I know it's the name of his debut album. I remember that. Low rental for you, J. Cuss. Yeah. This is a thick some old bullshit from Chris Ayers. There you go. Shit. Maybe I'm the nice one, chat. Yeah. Breaking news in the sports world: DeAndre Jordan has. Oh no, he has the Rona. Everyone's getting that Rona. You gotta be careful, chat. Please be careful. Full price from Steve. There you go. So there's some people that do enjoy the film. He got better over the years with his acting, somewhat. Well, good to see Jamia. I know that he did a heist film with O'Shea Jackson, Ice Cube's son, which I haven't seen it, but I thought it was like, oh, he seems to be okay. And that's at least in the trailers. Chris, there's deputies. Thank you. Everybody doing good. Great to hear that. Nice. Next time you and Corey are streaming, bring this movie up on him and tell him about your review. I want to see how he reacts because I think this is a high on his most hated movies list. No, okay. I'm not going to bring it up. I can tell you right now, I am not going to bring it up. Den of Thieves, that's what it was. Yeah, I didn't hate it. It's just Curtis Jackson, he's just a bad actor. That he brings down the material. But it's a straightforward rags to riches, street gangster film. It's like, okay, there was a lot of these in the early 90s, throughout the 90s even, chat, but so maybe that because it's just so generic, people are like, oh, this is just derivative of what we've seen before. But I don't hate it. It's just it's fine. It's fine. Thankfully, it's elevated by some of the supporting performances. So, Yeah, a little rental. It's a rental chat.